Now you can hear me. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to South Florida Gospel News Radio Studio. I am your host, Deborah Hall McCullen. And today we are celebrating Black History. I have some wonderful people that I will be discussing this morning. And today's topic is in celebration of Black History Month. We are recognizing the central role. Excuse me. Should have put my glasses on. Wait a minute. Sorry about that. And I read this 1,000 times. All right, let's try that again. We are recognizing the central role and contributions of Black people, specifically in Riviera Beach, the U.S., and world history. So I have three people who I believe are worthy of being discussed this morning. And of course, we're going to talk about Riviera Beach first, born and raised here. And that's where this platform comes from, right out of Riviera Beach. So, are we ready to get started? Let's get it started. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in right now. And then also, please leave me your comments. Make some comments, please. And if you have any suggestions of who I should talk about or include in my next book, drop them in the comments. I love the comments. I love responding. And again, thank you all. Okay, so we are going to get started with our first person. Let me get my script here. And that is going to be the first Black mayor of Riviera Beach. And I'm going to read this narrative here. And his name is Bobby E. Brooks Sr. And the Riviera Beach City Hall complex is named rightfully in his honor. Bobby E. Brooks Sr. broke racial barriers when he was elected to the city council in 1966 and was chair for 6 years of his 8 years on the council. In 1975, he was elected as mayor and served for 12 productive years. He made major contributions to Riviera Beach. Some of his accomplishments include hiring the first Black city manager in the state of Florida and the first Black chief of police in the state of Florida. And I think that that was since Reconstruction. We got our first Black police chief. All right. So he acquired millions of federal dollars for major construction projects, such as the city's municipal complex, right? City Hall. And it also had a Black architecture. And then he was also able to get money for the Blue Heron Bridge and the water and sewage plant that's over there at City Hall. He was able to get funding for the Ivy Green housing development, which is on Congress Avenue, which is now called Heron Estates. In the 1970s, President Ford invited Bobby and his wife to the White House to dine with the King and Queen of Spain. And so during his 20-year tenure as an elected official, and even after he retired from political life, he was appointed by governors and other elected officials to serve on many state and local governing boards. When he passed away, he was the active chairman of the Firemen's Pension Fund and served on the Northwest Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Corporation Board. Because of his direction and appointments, Riviera Beach celebrated many firsts in the city. For example, the first Black library director for the Riviera Beach Public Library. And guess what? Riviera Beach is the majority Black population waterfront city on the East Coast of the United States. And I think that certainly deserves to be celebrated. And so I picked Mayor Bobby Brooks as a mover and shaker who really came and made a lot of changes for the better in the city, especially for the Black people in the city. All right. So moving right along, we're going to go into our national leader who played a significant role for Black people in the United States. And I selected John Lewis. John Lewis was an American politician and civil rights activist who served in the United States House of Representatives for Georgia's 5th congressional district from 1987 until his death in 2020. He was the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, otherwise known as SNCC, from 1963 to 1966. He was one of the Big Six leaders of groups who organized the 1963 March on Washington. He fulfilled many key roles in the civil rights movement and its actions to end legalized racial segregation in the United States. In 1965, he led the first of three Selma to Montgomery marches across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. In an incident which became known as Bloody Sunday, state troopers and police attacked the marchers, including Lewis. A member of the Democratic Party, he was first elected to Congress in 1986 and served 17 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. The district he represented included most of Atlanta. Due to his length of service, he became the dean of the Georgia congressional delegation. While in the House, he was one of the leaders of the Democratic Party, serving from 1991 as chief deputy whip and from 2003 as a senior chief deputy whip. He received many honorary degrees and awards, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So that's who I picked to recognize his central role and contribution to Black people in the U.S. And now we're going to move on to world history. Oh, I have another picture of John Lewis here. He went to thousands of protests. He was arrested 45 times, and he spent 33 years in Congress. So thank you, John Lewis. And yes, we will continue to get into good trouble fighting for equal rights and justice for Black people and for everyone. Okay, so my next um, honoree comes from Kenya. And we're recognizing her for her central role and contributions to Black people and world history. All right, so her name is Wangari Mathai. She's a Kenyan ecologist, and she became the first Black woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. She's an outspoken environmentalist. She was honored in 2004 for standing at the front of the fight to promote ecology, viable social, economic, and cultural development in Kenya and in Africa. She earned her bachelor's and master's degrees at American universities before completing her doctorate and founded the Green Belt Movement, the largest tree planting campaign in Africa. She has been recognized as Time Magazine's Hero of the Planet. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the first Black woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize, Wangari Mathai. Thank you so much, Wangari, for your contributions. So, those were the three people who have made a difference for Black people in Riviera Beach, the United States, and the world. So please, please, please share this information. I had a long list of people that I wanted to include, but because of time and narrowing it down, I picked the ones that I thought made the most contributions for change for Black people in Riviera Beach, the United States, and the world. I wanted to mention a lady who was arrested before um, Rosa Parks. Her name is Claudette Colvin, And we know about Rosa Parks, but nobody really um, know about Claudette Colvin. That she was the first one who refused to give up her seat on a bus, and she was arrested. She was 15 years old, and they arrested her for not wanting to get up out of her seat on the bus, and they dragged her off the bus. And she said that it was worth it when Barack Obama became president. She said it was worth every moment. All right. So I'm looking for comments. If anybody has any comments, please put your comments. I'll be glad to read them. All right. Good morning. Thank you. And so there are so many people, for example, in my books. I'm working on volume 4, Riviera Beach Moments, who deserve to be mentioned, not for Black History Month only, but because of their contributions that they have made to the city of Riviera Beach. We do have so many people that I'm currently working on for Volume 4 that comes out in September of this year for the 100th anniversary of the city of Riviera Beach. A lot of work, but it is a labor of love. So still looking for more comments. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, even after this broadcast ends and it replays, because I will replay it all weekend, please leave a comment of who you think I should interview or include in my next book. Now, we have some great people coming up in March for Women's History Month, and I'm so excited. Um, to be able to that they said yes to be able to be interviewed. And I have Miss Marion Dozier with Coco Wire that will be coming on for an interview. And I also have Miss Iona Joseph, former Miss Bethune-Cookman University. She's agreed to come on, and we're going to talk about her music and career, her education, among things. And I'm very excited about that. And also, I'm also looking for other people to come on to interview. If you have something going on, an event that you want to talk about, um, send me a direct message. If you have my phone number, you can send me a text with, your contact information or who you think I should interview. And I will be happy, excuse me. I will be happy to bring them on. We have some good events coming on, and we have some good events coming up in the city. And some of the promoters, the organizers, I would love to interview you to discuss your event and let everybody know what you have going on. Oh, Miss Iona taught you how to sing. Awesome. All right. So I'm looking forward to her. Used to see her, at different gospel events, at Emmanuel Baptist Church in Mangonia Park. She's a very, very talented woman. And I do admire her, even how she put on, how she changed, how she eats, and um, changed up her diet. So yeah, looking forward to interviewing Miss Iona Joseph, and she's also in Gospel Updates magazine. I meant to bring that thing. I got my Gospel Updates magazine. I believe it was Wednesday, and they did a beautiful spread on her in Gospel Updates magazine. So if you haven't seen that magazine, you could just Google Gospel Updates magazine, and it will come up, and you will be able to see her. And also, music mogul Terry Green is in Gospel Updates magazine February issue. Um, Beautiful spread. It's very nice. So that's pretty much all I had. Yes, Miss Iona is full, she's full of a lot of talents. I follow her on Facebook. We're Facebook friends, and say a prayer for her. I believe today is the day that her son passed last year. So we're certainly keeping her lifted in prayer today, that God will comfort her today. Um, I think that was it. So let me run through again for those who may have missed it. Um, who we talked about today. We talked about Bobby E. Brooks. the first black mayor of the city of Riviera Beach, who, under his leadership, they had the separate bathrooms for white people and black people at the city of Riviera Beach. And, back then, if you were black and wanted to get a job with the city, you had to work in, um, what do they call it? The people who clean the bathrooms and clean the offices. You couldn't get a job inside the office. And then they had black and white bathrooms. So after he was elected, the the signs came down. So integrated the restrooms, and then he started hiring black people who were qualified for the position. Boone Darn, first black police chief in the state of Florida. He also hired the first black city manager. Okay, and then later, and then it continued with that, that black people are good enough. Black people go to school and get an education, and they can apply for a job and get hired, not because they're black, but because they have the education and experience. We had the first black um, building inspector in the whole state of Florida hired in Riviera Beach. So there are a lot of firsts after he was elected. Um, where he figured black people were good enough and other people didn't. And sadly, some black people still don't think black people are good enough. But we get the education, we have the experience, and give us a fair chance. So under Mayor Brooks, those things changed. And then there was a wave of change, when Mr. Herman McCray, Mr. Dan Calloway, and others got together and changed the face of the city council, went from all white to all black. And so we thank them for their work and service. Okay. And then we went on to talk about John Lewis and how he got beaten so bad when they were marching over that bridge in support of equal rights and justice for black people. Okay. And how he continued and became a civil rights activist and started serving in the U.S. House of Representatives. But before that, he was the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And I read about that in high school, what they call SNCC, and how they were going out, black people and white people, registering young people to vote, trying to make change. And then he was on the front line when they tried to cross that Edmund Pettus Bridge from Selma to Montgomery, which became known as Bloody Sunday, when they beat those people and put dogs on them and fire hoses. And these were the state troopers and the police that attacked the marchers. Now they banged him upside the head and arrested him. So we thank you, Mr. John Lewis, for your service. And then also the first black woman who became a Nobel Peace Prize winner. All right, y'all gotta excuse me for a second. The husband is calling just a moment. Off my mic. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. Chris forgot I was doing a live broadcast. He's at work. All right, so we were going into talking about the Kenyan ecologist Wangari Mathai. She's the first black woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. She was honored in 2004 for outstanding um, for standing at the front of the fight to promote ecologically viable social, economic, and cultural development in Kenya and in Africa. And she earned her bachelor's and master's degrees over here in the United States before completing her doctorate, and founded the Green Belt Movement, the largest tree planting campaign in Africa. She has been recognized as Time Magazine's Hero of the Planet. So we thank you so much, Miss Wangari Mathai. Alrighty. Okay, again, thank you everybody who's watching. I appreciate you. Um, there's some things going on in Riviera Beach this weekend. I really don't want to talk about it because I ain't getting paid for it, but I will say there's a free family event going on at the Ocean Mall on Sunday tomorrow, starting at I think they said the gates open at 4:30. Movie starts at 5. Free popcorn and drink. You can bring your own drinks and food if you want to. They're showing Jaws on the beach. So if you're wondering where you should park, you can park in the in the front lot, where everybody parks, where the restaurants face west when you drive in. So where Johnny Longboats is, Two Drunken Goats, Mulligans, and all of that. You can park in the front parking lot, or you can park in the back if you can find a space. I would encourage you to bring your own blanket or a chair, because the last time I went when they showed a movie, they actually have it in the sand. So I plan to be there. I love Jaws. All right. So again, it starts at the gates open at 4:30. Movie starts at 5. It's from 5 to 7. They're gonna have popcorn. By the way, the popcorn's very good. Free drinks. Bring your own snacks, sandwiches, or whatever you want to bring. And be prepared to have a good time. It's always a lot of fun. And I am looking forward to it. And then also we have the old school reunion that's coming up. Now I gotta get online and get my tickets on Eventbrite. Now there's a whole list of good artists that I am looking forward to. And let me put up the flyer. Okay, so the old school reunion is Saturday, April 9th from 3 to 9, and Sunday, April 10th from 2 to 8. Which the hours could be a little bit long because, I just start getting crunk at 9 o'clock. But anyway, it's like a festival. Okay, so on Saturday, the groups performing are Silk, H Town, the Gucci Crew 2, and it's going to be hosted by Nate Simone of X102.3. And then on Sunday, April 10th, we have Shy, the 69 Boys. Y'all remember them? Tootsie Roll. Let me see your Tootsie Roll. Intro. And this will be hosted by none other than another history maker in Riviera Beach. Mr. Eddie Green is your host for Sunday. And also, one of my favorite bands will be there. The Derek Mack Band will be performing. There are tickets available. Now, Lorenzo Lolly Hutchinson, you can look him up on Facebook. He's also in my book. He used to play basketball with the Harlem Globetrotters. Lorenzo Lolly Hutchinson has the flyer on his page, and he is the event creator, organizer, whatever you want to call it. Now, this old school reunion is going to take place at the Riviera Beach Marina. It's going to be on the side where Bicentennial Park, that big grassy park over there by the Marina Event Center. That's where it's going to be held. The address is 200 East 13th Street. All right. And let me see if I can make this bigger. I should have worn my glasses. Um, but anyway, the old school reunion is Saturday, April 9th and Sunday, April 10th. You could get your tickets on Eventbrite. The flyer is on Lorenzo Lolly Hutchinson's Facebook page, and I'm sure plenty other places. And that's where you buy your tickets at. And all of the rules and everything will be explained on Eventbrite when you go there to purchase your tickets. So again, don't forget Sunday. Gates open at 4:30. Movie starts at 5. It's a free movie. Now, please don't come and just drop your kids off and leave. Okay? Stay there with them. There's free popcorn and drinks. You can bring your own food if you want to, your own drinks. Bring your blanket or chairs because it's usually it's in the sand. But they are going to be showing Jaws at the Ocean Mall on the beach. I think that is so cool. I'll be there. I hope to see you all out there. If you see me, please say hello. Um, okay, Kelso, I just got your message. Yeah, I will be in touch with you. Thank you so much. Um, and like I said, I'm working on Riviera Beach Moments Volume 4. If you or someone you know should be in the book, just let me know. Leave a comment or send me a direct message through Facebook. All right, y'all. I didn't have much this morning, so that was my Black History celebration with the people that I chose. Teach your kids about Black history because, after all, it is American history. And another thing, we've been complaining for years about Black history not being in the school books. And guess what? It's still not in the school books. So, why is that after all of this time? We aren't including Black history in America, which is American history, in the textbooks. And why aren't you teaching your children Black history at home? They don't have to learn it at school. We didn't have to learn Black history at school when I was growing up. My parents taught us, they made us watch PBS. They bought uh, Black books. They got books from the library. They got the Black Encyclopedia back then. I think it came out in the 70s. And they didn't rely on the Palm Beach County School District to teach us about Black history. They made sure that we know, which helped us with our self esteem, that we come from greatness. So please teach your kids about Black history and don't rely on others to teach your children. There's so much information. I've been trying to share as much information as I can on my Facebook page. If you go and look there every day, I have been posting Black history. So please take a look at my Facebook page. Hello, mother. I gotta call you because I want to interview you I want you to be my first interview for Women's History Month. I didn't mean to put it out there like that, but since you're here, we'll set it up so that either we can pre-record and play back, or I can just bring you on live next Saturday to interview you for. You will be my first interview from Women's History Month, and then after that, we'll do um, Miss Iona Joseph and Marion Dozier with Cocoa Wire. And if you don't really know my mom, she's written two books. One is called The Sparrow Watcher, and the other is called Embracing Winter. And both of those books are available on Amazon.com. So yes, please teach your kids about Black history. Don't leave it up. And whatever little bit of history is in the books, they're trying to take it out anyway. So to me, there's really no fight, but and then we have a lot of people who move here from different countries, Black people, Haitians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Cubans, who need to know about Black American history, which is American history. So, they teach you about George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and all those people, which is some fabricated stuff anyway. But when you really start researching and learning too, start teaching your kids about, other than Martin Luther King, you got Marcus Garvey, you had Dick Gregory. Teach them about Bob Marley and his greatness and what he was doing to help change the world. And most of his wealth he was giving it away to help other people. Let's talk about those people. Mary McLeod Bethune, other business owner, Black female business owner, Michelle Obama. Talk about some great Black educated people and help our self esteem, help your kids. And one of the reasons why I wrote my books is to lift the self-esteem of people in Riviera Beach. Because the first thing you hear, and even if you go to Google, it says, is Riviera Beach a ghetto? And then they were calling us a city in turmoil. And I'm not in turmoil. I didn't agree with that ever. And so I started talking about the great people who come from here. Some seem to think nobody from this city is good enough to get a job at the city. But we have some very talented and educated people here. And those same people who grew up in these streets, in these neighborhoods, Monroe Heights, Federal Gardens, National Village, those same people went on to achieve greatness. They got their education, they went on and they did great things in the same conditions that your children are growing up in. So you can do anything you put your mind to, but you have to believe first that you are worthy. Believe that you can do it, and you can. So that's why I wrote those books. You know, for the kid growing up on 28th Street, you got athletes from here who went to the NFL and are doing things, great things to give back to the city of Riviera Beach. Although they have to fight tooth and nail for it, they still get it done. And so that's why I wrote those books. And I do have volume 4, like I said, coming out in September. I appreciate everyone for listening to me this morning. I do love the city of Riviera Beach. Um, and early voting. If you're a voter, February 26th, Saturday, which is today, early voting started. You can go to Wells Recreation Center, vote for the candidate of your choice. All right. And with that being said, I am going to sign off. Thank you all again for paying attention. Please share this video. Please celebrate Black History Month. We have today, tomorrow, and Monday to get it in. Teach your kids. That's the most important thing. Teach your kids about our local Black History moments. Teach your kids about Jacoby Brissett. All right. Teach your kids about Herman McCray. Okay. And what they did. Teach your kids about Louise Bowie. Simple Google search. Make sure they know something, know about themselves. And like I said, they can make it in these same streets. So can you, and so can your children. Don't ever let anybody write your narrative or define who they think you are. All right. So I'm doing my best to change that through my books and to teach kids you come from greatness. That's where you come from, not turmoil. All right. So with that, happy Black History Month, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I will be back next Saturday. I gotta convince my mom to say yes for Women's History Month interview, which I'm sure she will. Just have to set her up to make sure everything goes smoothly. All right, y'all. Much love from the South Florida Gospel News Radio studio. Have a beautiful day, and I will see y'all next time.